There he is,
said a gray-haired Chinese guy in a suit, Mike standing right next to him.
We were beginning to think you would chicken out after all.
Massive laughter of around 15 armed guards with automatic weapons erupted.
That's close enough,
he said, instructing Tomas to stop as he was approaching closer and closer. Tomas once again restrained himself from showing any emotion on the outside, but inside of him, he was screaming at himself for coming. For the very first time ever, he experienced tremendous fear for his life. It felt like an impending doom. Frankly, it was commendable that Tomas still managed to maintain such a poker face, considering how he felt. Perhaps it was a survival mechanism that he practiced so many times before.
Don't show any weakness. Don't show them that you are afraid,
Tomas repeated to himself as he looked directly at Mike. It looked like Mike wanted to say something to Tomas, but he got interrupted.
My name is Stephen Falk,
said the older Chinese man. Tomas stayed quiet.
And you are?
He looked like he was awaiting an answer, surprising Tomas with the question.
Mike didn't tell him?
Tomas wondered.
The famous ghost,
Falk answered after a short moment of suspense. Now Tomas was sure that Mike didn't tell him.
But why? If Mike is on my side after all, what role is he playing?
Tomas wondered, realizing that the source and the Triads were not the same entity.
But before I proceed,
Falk started to slow clap.
Congratulations on passing the test.
Tomas asked,
What test?
Looking confused and nervous.
The test that awaited you at your house. Very impressive. I understand now why you are so important to my friends in Hong Kong.
Tomas kept quiet. He knew it was better to listen unless asked to speak, or when he needed clarification. Falk added,
Of course, they were just expendable pawns trying to make it into our ranks. My soldiers are on a different level, so don't get any ideas. But still, all 13 without a scratch?
Falk's face made an expression of respect, acknowledgement, and then he raised his voice.
I have a proposal for you, Ghost. Listen carefully, as I'm not a person that repeats himself. Come work for us, and everything will be forgiven. I could use a person like you. No history, except of exceptional violence.
He grinned ear to ear whilst the other guards started to laugh loudly.
Just the sort of person we like here.
Falk's guards' laughter continued.
But,
he continued, vividly gesturing with his hands,
before you say anything, there are entry conditions to this generous offer.
Mike looked at Falk as if something was wrong. Falk explained,
First, no more Ghost. I want to know who you are. Second,
a captive, bound young Chinese woman was brought forward, her mouth stuffed so she could not speak. She was obviously beaten and still had tears running down her face.
You kill this,
he paused for a moment,
innocent person.
Mike objected that this wasn't the deal. Falk asked,
What's wrong, Mike? The deal was I offer your friend a way out. I'm doing it right now.
He looked irritated by Mike's objection. Mike replied,
You said that should the ghost join you, you would let him live.
And I fully intend to hold that promise, make no mistake.
He raised his voice even louder.
I'm no barbarian,
he yelled before calming down.
But such a generous offer can't go without certain sacrifices, can it?
He instructed one of his guards to prepare his cell phone to record footage of Tomas killing the woman. Mike urged,
We had this talk before. I specifically said that the ghost wouldn't do any dirty work for you. He is trying to live peacefully, leaving any violence behind. You said that it will be not a problem, that the ghost can be employed as a new instructor, to replace the one he accidentally killed in self-defense.
He raised his voice in return, but Falk just laughed at Mike. Falk chuckled.
Accidentally? That's a good one. There was nothing accidental about multiple fractures inflicted and snapping a neck the way he did.
He erupted in anger and pointed at Tomas.
That is the only reason why Hong Kong even considered my proposal to make him join our ranks. Now, I don't expect him to do petty, dirty work. He's the ghost, for Christ's sake. Enforcement is beneath him, that's fine. He can teach us how to kill more efficiently.
He began calming down.
But I do expect him to be one of us. We need an insurance policy that will ensure so.
He paused to take a breath.
Now kill her!
He demanded, exploding at Tomas and pointing at the captive woman. The woman's muffled cries got louder. Tomas was in shock. He didn't know what to say. The woman was basically a girl to him, in her early 20s for sure. Kill her? There was no way. If anything, Tomas felt a strong protective urge to save her. Falk demanded impatiently.
What are you waiting for? Kill her! I don't have all day.
Falk waited for another 3 or 4 seconds before calming himself down again.
Listen, I sent the pawns to get killed. We had a camera on you the whole time, but you didn't kill them. So now you forced me to use this innocent person to have blackmail material on you in case you should change your mind and try to go against us. It's only reasonable, right?
Momentary silence ensued. Falk continued.
Now, if you're worried about the police part, a missing person investigation, how to get rid of the body efficiently, etc., don't. We've got that covered. This is just insurance for us. Should you run, we expose you and you're hunted by all, legal and illegal systems.
He laughed and the guards joined him immediately before calming down just as fast. Falk explained.
Honestly, FBI, CIA, NSA, we all walk hand in hand together.
He grinned ear to ear.
We've got connections everywhere. All we would need is some sort of leverage to make it of official interest for the legal system, so the good guys would think they do a good day's work for good, honest people, not us.
They all erupted in massive laughter simultaneously. It took Falk a few seconds this time before he collected himself again. Then he had to indicate to his guards with his hands to quiet down too.
As you see, I'm being honest. No tricks. You take the deal or leave it.
You could tell that he was already annoyed at this point. Mike just stood there in shame. He was looking down into the floor. Couldn't even look at Tomas anymore. He didn't want to suggest for him to say no to Falk, nor to kill the girl. Tomas asked,
What if I say no? Can't we just go our own way? Let's forget all of this.
You could see that Tomas was getting more and more insecure in his body language. Falk demanded,
And what would be there for us in it?
He exploded at Tomas again before collecting himself just as quickly, even corrected his suit a bit.
It's not that easy. You have caused some grievance to us. We can't just pretend that it never happened. I'm sure you can understand that,
he said dismissively. Tomas remained silent, and Falk started to lose it.
Look, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm the guy with the guns on you. You can't do shit. What is there to think about? What?
His anger was now manifesting in a violent spasm in his face and arms.
You mind violence? Nobody does shit without the threat of violence.
He continued to shout in Tomas's face.
The state threatens violence to its populace through the police and army, or nobody would obey shit. At least not people like us.
He was clearly referring to Tomas as well.
People like us who just push around the people below them at will. It's been always like that. People up top push the people down low.
He shook his head like he didn't understand Tomas's hesitation at all.
We push some people down for the state too. Things that would be deemed illegal for them to do, but need to be done. In return, we get protection from the legal system. Everybody is happy.
Turning around, he sought validation from his goons that unanimously showed their agreement.
The state, the legal system, is like a machine with levers and all.
He struggled to finish his sentence.
And we move those levers to adjust the machine to our liking. One could argue that we are part of the state enforcement force, although the state would never admit it. Hell, one could argue that we run the state.
He erupted in laughter again, joined by his guards.
After all, we, the so-called crime syndicate as a whole, push around people running the machine if we don't like how they run it. And they can't do shit to us. Not legally, anyway.
All the guards erupted in laughter again, but Falk stayed calm and approached Tomas whilst keeping a safe distance.
So what is it going to be? Are you with the people on top or with the people down below?
Looking directly in Tomas's eyes, almost staring, he impatiently awaited his answer.
I can't,
Tomas said quietly.
You can't.
Falk turned towards the guard on his right.
He can't.
He raised his voice louder and shouted out as loud as he could.
The ghost. Can't.
Then he quickly turned back, facing Tomas again.
I know that you can. I have heard stories of incredible violence that only an animal would do. I have seen the animal in you, in your eyes. I know because I am one, and just like you, I hide it away until I need it. I take no pleasure in violence. I just do it because it is necessary. Unlike you. You harm even when it's not necessary. I have seen that cocky, satisfied body language of yours as you stomped on the head of one of my pawns, changing him into a bloody caricature. I have seen that you took pleasure in it,
he said, passionately gesturing with his hands again before turning away from Tomas.
So don't tell me that you can't. I know that you can.
But there was still no response from Tomas. Falk briefly looked at Mike, who immediately avoided eye contact, and then at the girl, who was still sobbing but stopped resisting and fidgeting whilst she was held down to her knees by 2 guards at her sides. After a short moment of thinking, Falk proclaimed,
"Oh, is it because my pawns were the bad guys?"
Tomas still didn't respond, but Falk took it as agreement.
"And who are you to decide that? What are you, the people's champion?"
Falk started to laugh hysterically, and all the guards joined him.
"Was that your plan coming here? You were going to take on all of us?"
He looked amused.
"Don't be absurd."
He spat, his amusement quickly turning into anger. Yes, it did cross Tomas's mind. In fact, he was already contemplating how to save Mike and the girl. But so far, his conclusion was that it was suicide, so Tomas was just stalling in the meantime, uncertain what to do.
"You think you can take from us and get away with it?"
Falk snarled.
"The way I see it, either this bitch dies in the next 30 seconds, or you are useless to me. That means dead, if you didn't get that part."
It was obvious that he'd had enough already. Tomas repeated,
I can't!
Falk stormed.
"Then it is decided."
He dismissively waved his hand and reached into his suit for his concealed handgun, then aimed it at Tomas's head. Tomas just stood there and closed his eyes. His last thought? Just feeling ashamed. He always thought that when it would come to it, he would definitely go down in a fight till the last breath. Now that this situation emerged, in an instant, Tomas realized that this was it, and he froze, accepting his fate. Mike tried to tackle Falk, but one of the guards got a hold of him before that happened. Reacting rather quickly, Mike responded with a flawless, almost fully vertical kick, coming from the bottom and hitting just below the chin, which stunned the guard for a moment. That earned Mike enough time to also take a side kick at Falk, hitting him on his left side and disrupting the shot that was aimed just moments before at Tomas's head, narrowly missing it. Mike shouted,
"Thomas, fight! Don't give them the satisfaction."
But then Mike got struck in his legs with a burst from one of the guard's guns and fell hurt onto the floor. After a momentary struggle with the pain, writhing, he got it under control. Tomas still stood frozen in his position, scared to make a movement and unable to speak out of shame. He was wrong about everything, who he was and what he would do.
I'm a pretender, just like the others,
Tomas thought to himself. He felt that no matter what he did, things were always spiraling out of control. A shot came out, and the girl fell to the ground. She got hit in the head from Falk's gun, blood squirting out of the entry hole to the rhythm of a still-present heartbeat.
"She was dead the minute we collected her anyway. Nothing personal, just knew too much,"
Falk explained, turning back to Tomas. Tomas then looked at Mike, and he could see the disappointment in his eyes that he wouldn't do anything. And even though Mike was bleeding heavily from his wounds that looked painful, he got really calm and quiet in his own defiance of Falk's satisfaction. Then Mike also got shot in his head by Falk. Falk said,
"Now that was personal for wasting my time. Besides, Mike was the only person that I know you care about. This way, I get a little bit of satisfaction getting under your skin. I hope."
Falk came really close, looking calmly directly into Tomas's eyes, hoping for a reaction. But there was nothing. Tomas was still frozen, no movement, no expression. This time Tomas didn't have to tame his emotions. There were none. Just pure shock. To him, what was happening so quickly was totally unreal, and his brain struggled to process it. Then the gun aimed at Tomas's head once again, but the shot didn't come out.
"You know, Mike almost killed you with that sidekick of his,"
Fox said, grabbing his left side, indicating that he got hurt by it.
"I never really tried to shoot you. I just wanted to see your reaction. But as he kicked me, the shot just came out."
He made an oops expression.
"Unlucky for you, it also moved my hand."
Fox was grinning at first. Then, Fox's facial expression returned to normal, and he patted Tomas on his left shoulder in a condescending way.
"I'm really disappointed that I won't get to kill you personally. But as you know, there was a considerable price for your head. Someone actually paid us to have the honors, you see. Made me an offer that no businessman would decline, grievances or not."
He looked back into Tomas' eyes, analyzing.
"Are you beginning to comprehend how generous I was prepared to be to you? This was just plan B in case you don't join us,"
he explained, still looking for any response, which didn't come. So Fox continued.
"That someone was the brother of the DI you accidentally killed. Something tells me he won't be as gentle as I would.
He got bored staring into Tomas's eyes and even confidently turned his back to him at that close distance. Fok went on.
Sorry for that, but business is business. I have to cover my own losses. You can surely understand that.
Then turning back towards Tomas, he said,
But before I go, I have to say, I'm really disappointed that you didn't resist at all.
He shook his head in disbelief.
Now I will have to make up some story about how I got the ghost under control before handing him in, and I'm not a very good liar.
The guard started to laugh again. Fok raised his hand, and the laughter stopped.
I was wrong,
Fok said.
You're no animal after all. You're fucking scared. You think you can fool me with your poker face? You're frozen scared, you pussy. I really don't understand.
Fok looked puzzled. Then he turned around and started to casually walk away whilst the guards continued to laugh loudly as they were making their way out, leaving Tomas completely alone for a short moment. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you have enjoyed listening to this excerpt from the audiobook. Should you want to buy the audiobooks, you can find them on Amazon, Apple Store, Google Play Store, Spotify, and many others. Should you want to support me by buying the books, you can find them on Amazon. Thank you.
I have spent a lot of time in hiding. I resisted. I have given them every opportunity to just let go of me. But the Triads wouldn't listen. They ignored my warnings of what would happen otherwise. I know that I don't stand much of a chance, but I will not just roll over and die on a silver platter for them. I will not go without a fight. They might take my life, but I will have my vengeance before that happens. I will show them the animal they all say that I am.